enter into a contract. For entering into a contract, there is a fixed age bar. If we talk about the human beings, in that case, a person must be 18 or above. That means must be a major. A minor is not entitled to enter into a contract. Okay, first thing is this. Minor is debarred for entering into any kind of contract. So any transaction with a minor, law doesn't recognize. So law have clarified the status that if anyone wants to enter into a contract, then a person, that means a human being, must be 18 or above. Now, when we talk about this, when a person is 18 or above, that person as a human being should be of sound mind, and at the same time, if a person is having any kind of disability, still a person is entitled to enter into a contract. So the one of the major criteria is sound mind. At the same time, the person who are entitled to enter into a contract are also the juristic personality, corporate legal entities, artificial person created by law. So which includes companies, organizations, associations, NGOs, societies, trust, or any other person which are created by law by way of registration. So these kind of personalities will be called as a legal fiction. That means law have created them in writing, in a document. They don't have a physical existence. They only exist in a document, in a piece of paper. So they are also entitled to enter into a contract, and they act through its members. Like if we talk about the company, so the company acts generally through their directors or any other person designated under in writing by the company's matters. Okay, so these are the categories of persons. So there are categories where the persons are debarred specifically by law. So the categories may be, how about a convicted, that means a criminal inside a jail, whether that person can enter into a contract. So what is your opinion on this? Abhishek Biswal, role number 2. Abhishek is not here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
On your video also, Abhishek. So Abhishek, how about this question? What is your opinion that a person is inside the jail, whether he should be allowed to enter into a contract? How about this? If a person inside the jail wants to have a food from outside, or if a person
No,
inside the
sir.
jail want to purchase soap.
No, sir.
So thank you, Abhishek. Your answer is correct. So here the what point I want to make: a person who is in the jail, of sound mind, of age of majority, but still that person is debarred by law to enter into a contract. He is specifically debarred by law that once you are a criminal inside the jail, you are not entitled to enter into a contract. That is one thing. I hope you all are aware of the word bankrupts. I hope you are aware.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
So,
Yes,
regarding
I
the
am.
bankrupts, just to tell you, those who are bankrupts, they are also debarred by law to enter into a contract because they are bankrupts and they don't have the money to pay their dues, to pay their debts. That means their debts are more than their credits. So they are debarred by law to enter into a contract for a certain time. There's a time limit. And once regarding the bankruptcy, this also I want to tell you that the bankrupts needs to get a declaration from a court. That means it's not like that if anyone claim, just randomly they claim that I am a bankrupt now and I don't have the credit to pay the debts. So for the bankruptcy, a person have to get the official declaration by filing a case in a court for to get to ask the court to declare him as a bankrupt. So court will adopt a legal process to check whether a person is a bankrupt or not. After the reports and after checking or verification of the assets, then the court will declare that yes, now a person is bankrupt. That means whatever the advances a person is having, then the person is not liable more to pay the debts now because he's a bankrupt. So the bankrupt is also debarred by law to enter into a contract. There's another terminology which is called as an alien enemy. Anyone have heard this term, alien enemy? You can type your answer in the chat box.
No, sir.
Arpita, you are saying something. Okay. So alien enemy is also debarred by law to enter into a contract. Now the point here is who can be considered as an alien enemy. So just to tell you that if India is at war with any country, then the citizens of that country will be treated as an alien enemy. So I'm referring to the situation where international contract can be done. So in the case, if our country is at war with any other country, then all the citizens of that country will be treated as an alien enemy. And thus, any international contract we cannot perform or we cannot enter into a contract with the citizens of those country, because those countries' citizen will be treated as an alien enemy. So this terminology alien is not referring to the unidentified flying object or some aliens. This is a terminology which is for the citizens of those countries in which India is at war. Okay. So this is a brief discussion about that. So Kriti, I hope it is clear to you and to everyone, those who are in a class. Okay, if a company is not registered, then we cannot term that as a company. We can say they are a group of people. If a company is not registered. So until unless they got registration, they are not having any legal existence. We cannot recognize them. It's not possible. Because law have not given a certificate to them. So until unless they get the certificate through legal process, until and unless then in that case they cannot be termed as a company. They can only be termed as a group of person doing a business. Okay, so if you want to file a case against them, so each one who are involved and showing that they are owning a company, you can file a case against every one of them. Priti, is that fine? Okay. So any other question from anyone? Yes, Isha?
Sir, if some other country is they are helping that country if with whom India is at war, so will the other countries' citizens are also alien enemies?
No, no, no. Only alien enemy we can use that. And first, to answer this, just let me tell you that it is not like we consider the citizen as an alien enemy. whenever there is a war, the war is an international terminology and it is an official declaration by the countries. It's not like that we presume that there is a war. It's not like that. The countries need to declare it that we are at war with that particular country. So if any other countries are helping them, and if there is no official declaration from either of the side, then it's fine. There is no barricading or blockade in entering into a contract. Isha, is that clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other question from anyone? Then you please ask. Yes. Pardon, please repeat. Okay, so in that case, like if we have a contract before the official declaration of war and war declare, then in that case, that contract becomes void. That means the contract will be suspended and contract cannot be executed because of the official declaration of a war. So that contract cannot be fulfilled. The obligation under that contract cannot be performed, not possible. And the legal terminology which is used for such situation, it is contract becomes void. So we are going to discuss this in a classification of a contract.
Hello.
Yes, Abhrunil.
Yes, sir. I had a question. So last year, we saw Abhinandan, pilot Abhinandan, who was captured by the Pakistan army. In the news, there was a term prisoner of war. Sir, what is the status of this prisoner of war? Can he like participate in contract, or what is the status?
No. Okay. So thank you, Abhrunil. Though this question is not relevant to the business transactions or contract, but still, as you have asked this, see, prisoners of war is an international terminology. International terminology here means that there are certain laws which are propounded by the international community as an international law. So whenever a person got a tag of a prisoner of war, in that case there are certain legal regulations which the country have to perform. That means if any like Abhinandan, so Pakistan is duty bound to fulfill certain international obligations, that if Abhinandan is a prisoner of war, then the Abhinandan have to receive certain hospitality, and which is we are having in a written form. So Pakistan have to abide by all the rules and regulation. It's not like that the Pakistan will kill Abhinandan at that point of time, because all the countries in the world are duty bound with some international regulations. So that international regulations have given this term prisoner of war, so that those regulations will be implemented to the persons who got a tag of prisoner of war. Abhrunil, is that clear?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
See, Abhrunil, there can be a lot of discussion on this, but I'm restricting myself with a limited discussion. The only point is it is actually not related with anything related to contract, but still, because the question has asked, and you may be you're not aware of the international regulation. That's why I've communicated. Okay. Anyone? Any other question?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, Isha, switch on your video also. This is for everyone. Whenever you are saying anything, please do switch on your video also. Yes, Isha.
So you were telling that a person in jail cannot enter into a contract, but a person inside a jail cannot enter.
Yes.
Cannot enter into a contract. But sir, last year we saw that Nirbhaya's case, one of the prisoners were like they were having some divorce that was a trick that the media was claiming, that they were having a divorce. So divorce is also a contract, and how can he enter
How
into?
you say that divorce is a contract?
So because that is a mutual agreement between two parties.
Absolutely not. Divorce is just a family settlement issue, family related matter. It's not a contract. There's no commerce included. You give me divorce, I'll give you money. It's not like that. Divorce is related to the family dispute, and family dispute here doesn't mean it's as a contractual obligations or a contract or a commerce. Okay, so divorce, please do not consider divorce as a contract. It's a family settlement issue, family dispute, family matter. Okay, and at
Yes.
the same time, just to tell you that regarding these family disputes, they are dealt within the family court. And whenever there is a matter of commerce, commercial transaction, contract, the matter can never go to family court. It must go to the civil court. It's a civil matter. But if we talk about divorce, it's a family matter. But I think it's good that you are having a lot of questions, because now you are correlating the things with law. So that is one thing I appreciate for everyone. Okay, so Isha, thank you for your question. So if there is any other question, uh, then you please come up with a question, else we start. Okay, so I got no question. Then I think we should go ahead and we should complete the essential element of a contract. I hope I am audible and visible clearly.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let me just share my screen. Can anyone please confirm whether my screen is visible?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, whether I am audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
There seems to be a lot of disruptions. Let me just share my screen. Were you able to see my screen?
No, sir.
Okay, let me check. Okay, so please just tell me whether the screen is opened or it's still in process.
Still in process, sir.